All right. It is windy out there today.
It is like scary windy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to hear it on the video here. Yeah?
Yeah, there's a 20-second delay.
Oh, it just told me, so it should be coming. Can you see the words, ladies?
Need to go up a little.
Up a little higher. Sound all right?
Sound a little far away.
Okay. Oh, I'm talking to you there.
Oh, maybe it's the same delay now. There we go.
I wonder if I move the words again.
Yeah, now you can see the words perfectly.
Okay. Give it just a couple minutes here. Sound and lighting. Happy Wednesday. Halfway there, almost.
Very top of the words are cut off on my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So,
Good morning, fellow entrepreneurs. We're a few minutes early. Give everybody a chance. I'm 4 minutes early. Look at us go today. Are you watching the live house, Alea?
Yep.
It's exhilarating.
it is.
Can you hear that clanging? Ladies, that's the wind blowing stuff into the house.
It might be my house too. I didn't feel like I'd been up like that.
No, I can hear it out here. Okay, we have a couple minutes, but my name is Echo Bell, Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln's CFO on the go. I got a second CFO Collaboration live in our mini-series rocking here today. Lots of good stuff happening all at the same time. So kind of real time, actually. Do we know when a decision, Aaliyah? How long? I suppose they have as long as they would like.
But it'll be by the end of the day.
Which is where the term the pace of Congress came from, or the pace of government. But yes, as we speak, the new American Rescue Plan bill is making its way through the process. So, going to get updated on the CARES Act, the American Rescue Plan, as well as it's tax season. So all of these things are coming together. Lots of information, and still plenty of time to make it happen and put it in play for yourself. Been saying since the beginning of putting this series together that timing is crucial. And here we are again. That today is a very important day for sole proprietors, independent contractors. So again, we're about a couple minutes away from the actual go live. My name is Echo Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln CFO on the go. We get to work with startups, entrepreneurs, small businesses to provide the benefits of a chief financial officer without all the price. So bringing out the business pieces today of the American Rescue Plan Act. The CARES Act is still in play. There's still some stuff for small businesses, and it is tax season. So want to take out all the scary, all the federal, all the accountancy stuff and break down what matters and applies to us as small businesses here today. There's a lot of information out there. So while some of these things will apply to individual, we primarily want to focus on the small business pieces that affect everybody, and some action items, some things we can get going right away. So it is 11.
Yeah. Just like myself and Ashley.
Okay. So we'll give it just a minute here. Regardless, we'll get the information out. There is a lot of information. If you are going to be joining us, please grab a notebook. We're going to make it through these programs and the specifics that apply to you as a business owner. Aaliyah, you want to post just a post, a reminder post? I meant to do that here a little bit ago. Okay, should we get going regardless? Should I wait? What time we got? 11:01?
Yeah. Get started.
Okay. So, again, Echo Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln CFO on the go. We're trying to put together a mini series here of some of the key things happening. This is kind of a happening month. We knew there would be new federal information coming out, which it is. It's also tax season. So we're going to look at the American Rescue Plan Act. We're going to look at the CARES Act that still has things in play for small business, and trim this down to what matters to small businesses and the owners there in them, okay? So if you do join us here, let us know by making a comment. Want to make sure if you do join, you can hear and see, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. We spoke about this last week. It just was an interesting timing of the live because the banks were being put on hold and kind of halted everything because federal regulations were coming out at the time that we were having this video. So since our last video 1 week ago, a lot has changed. And if you recall, we broke down, if you were a small business, how to apply for PPP, and if you're an independent contractor. And that's the key piece that has changed in the last 6 days since we spoke. So if you are an independent contractor, you now have an opportunity to get more money than we've ever had before. If you recall, you were going to pull your Schedule C out, line 31, and utilize that number to figure out how much you could get. Last week, about a week ago, got word the banks started to implement the new application for independent contractors, sole proprietors, those that have 1099 income. And that is that you can now use line 7, which is your gross income of your Schedule C. Okay, so this is top line revenue versus your net income. which is huge in terms of how much you can get. A lot of people were, our net income is low because of all our costs, so they were only yielding a couple of $100s. This is going to yield you much more off of your top line sales. The the timing piece is that today, as of today, Union Bank and Trust is accepting the new applications. Westgate and Cornhusker are working. They may already be going today, but your 3 local banks have the new information and will be accepting the new versions of these applications effective today. If you applied before today and you're working with a small bank that understands, they probably held your application. If not, get in contact with them. Want to make sure that you're getting, if you're a sole proprietor, you're getting that max benefit. Okay? PPP program is scheduled to stay open until March 31st, although there is discussions that it may be extended 60 days. That is not for sure yet, but there is a lot of discussion about that. Okay? If you're getting a second draw PPP, you have to prove that 25% deduction still, reduction in sales. So that hasn't changed. Same information as last time. Okay? But you can now go apply under the new applications. They keep getting easier. It's easier and easier to apply. It's really hard not to qualify. So if you haven't got a PPP, get in touch with your bank or get in contact with a local bank and get that processed. You have until March 31st. Okay, did I miss anything? Aaliyah? I think that's really key at this point is that if you haven't applied, you get in touch and get those applications going now. To piggyback I've got a lot of questions on the shuttered venue grant. You cannot apply for this grant yet, but it is it's parallel. It's very similar to the second round PPP, right? If you've gotten a second round, you can't get the shuttered venue, but if you haven't, you can. If you qualify under that, you could get something similar to the second draw PPP. Okay, it requires the 25% reduction, but there is $15 billion set aside specifically for the live venues, the arts venues, and the like. Okay, so that is PPP. Want to talk about unemployment. This is one of the big changes happening here. We have two things. So unemployment has been extended. If you have staff that has utilized unemployment, or if you are one of the owners who utilized it last year, you may be getting letters. We got letters. I've seen letters come through because the end to the additional federal unemployment was scheduled to expire. And so there's letters going out, but the new American Rescue Plan Act extends that. So there is $300 a week federal in addition to state through September 6th at this point. Okay, so if you have employees that are still on it or need to utilize that, trying to get open, it's still available as an option, a strategic option for staff. Okay. The second part for unemployment, and probably the bigger piece, I've gotten calls about this all week, and this is something that's affecting a lot of people. So many people took unemployment last year, and if you are one of our clients, as an owner, we use that strategically alongside PPP to kind of maximize benefit and make sure we were covered for all the things that the pandemic was going to bring. So if you took unemployment last year, or you're one of the owners that took unemployment strategically as part of your game plan last year, you're now filing taxes, and one of two things has happened. Either a large number of people opted to not have taxes taken out, and so they're facing a huge tax bill right now. But even those that opted to are at a 10% rate, which doesn't cover your full tax liability that would come with the unemployment income. And so what this new plan provides is that the first $10,200 of unemployment income that you received for 2020 is not taxable. It's forgiven. You don't have to pay tax on that. And that is for households of up to 150K. Okay, so you got to be under that, at that threshold or under, to take advantage of that. But this is huge. Most of the people, we stay on track with our numbers and our taxes throughout the year. And so with this in play, it really puts you back to your strategic tax game that you had before the unemployment effects of that. So This is not in play yet. What makes this interesting, so the speed of government, and it's getting to the president here today to get signed off, but then there's time to get these things implemented. And so mid-March is pretty advantageous timeline, but I know they're trying for it, but it is going to take some time to get this in place. So if you haven't filed your individual tax return, consider waiting at least a few weeks to see if this can be applied to getting your taxes filed right away. If you've already filed them, don't worry, you just will amend them, okay? And the money that you owed on that will come back, or that income will no longer be taxable to you, okay? So that is probably one of the bigger takeaways for your 2020 taxes of what's happening currently. Okay, keep trucking, ladies. Looks like it's just you. Employment retention credit. This is a difficult one to qualify for, but I've got a number of calls on it, and so want to touch briefly. If you had to be closed, faced a significant reduction, this is going to primarily affect the industries that were forced to be closed down. Your hospitality industries, I know some of the barbershops, these types of things that had to stop operations are the people who are going to qualify for this. So it's pretty difficult to qualify. It'd take a pretty hard hit. But for at any point that you were down 50%, in that time period through 2020, if you were down compared to the previous year, you can receive a tax credit for retaining staff in that period. Okay, so that's just kind of a rough overview of it, but if you were significantly hit hard to the tune of 50% reduction or more, talk to your accountant about possibly utilizing the employee retention credit, okay? All right, EDIL, want to bring this up. This still exists from the CARES Act, but it is live. It is still going. It is not free money, but it is an economic disaster loan that you as a small business owner can go get at some really phenomenal terms. So 3.75% interest, 2.75 if you're not in profit, no collateral required if it's 25K or less, and you can utilize this money to keep your business trucking. So if you've not been hit too hard, maybe you don't want to take on the debt, but if you're truly trying to keep your business open and continue to be hit or have been affected hard, definitely worth considering. It is a little bit longer process. It's an SBA loan, and you can apply on the SBA site. There is a targeted EIDL advance. So a lot of people asked about this. There's an EIDL loan and an EIDL advance. The advance you don't pay back. And what's happening now is if you got applied before but didn't get money because it ran out on the advance portion, you will be contacted by the SBA and that you can get the rest of the targeted funds, right? The funds up to the 10 grand, you can get those. It is not to apply new. It's for those that had already applied and didn't get that money because the program did run out, okay? But the EIDL loan is still available. Again, really great terms if you're looking for some capital. You can't use that money to add on or buy business. It does have to be used for operations, okay? Okay, I'm going to keep trucking here. Stimulus, this applies to everybody. I don't want to get too much into the individual, but $1,400 by the end of March, another round of it. Do you know, Aaliyah, is it 75 or 80K is the max? I seen this morning 75. I read last night 80. 80,000. Okay, so individual who makes 80,000 or less, another $1,400 stimulus coming. One takeaway here, a question that we get, stimulus money is not taxable. Okay, so you don't have to pay tax on that. If you haven't filed your 2020 taxes, they will determine if you're eligible based on your 2019 taxes. Okay, and again, 80,000 or 160 as a joint return. Okay, so more money coming there. As part of the American Rescue Plan, there is money coming to the states, and it's coming in a way that has not happened through the pandemic. And all states are going to get money. And so while we don't have any specifics necessarily on this right now, I think it's fair to plan for additional funding, grants, opportunities within the state to come available. We worked with our clients and a number of people in this community last year to get the $12,000 grants, as well as some specific arena grants, these types of things that were specific to the state. So it's a smaller pool of applicants, and the state of Nebraska will issue those. So while I think there'll be a lot of things in the state grant, I am hopeful that we'll see some small business grants or monies come from that again. Okay, so the CARES Act also provided a couple of tax benefits. So we lost the standard deduction changed in recent years, and it's difficult to itemize. And so the CARES Act provides a special little provision here for giving, charitable giving. That kind of went away with the change, and under the CARES Act, $300 as an individual or $600 joint, you can deduct in charitable deductions, and that's for 2020. Do you know, Lee, does that apply to 2021? That may be a 1 or 2 year, but for sure for your 2020, since you're waiting anyway, if you have unemployment, for 2020, you can get a charitable deduction, even if you get the standard deduction. Okay, so kind of a one-time to take away there. Okay, so want to talk a little bit about tax deductions. Again, if you haven't filed your individual, a lot of things changing, so maybe consider waiting. So I want to talk about some of the things you can apply to your 2020. But to recap here real quick, the key giveaways. PPP, go get your PPP. The new applications are available today through the local banks. And if you are an independent contractor, sole proprietor, you get to get more money than anybody has ever got to get. Okay, so from today till March 31st, go get your PPP. If you're trying to get a second one, now is the time. Again, local banks are ready. Union Bank, I know, Cornhusker and Westgate following. Shuttered venue grant, again, much like the second PPP, to unemployment. So if you have employees, let's keep them on. If you need, you also have the opportunity to not pay tax on that. Okay? Employee retention credit, if you're hit hard, talk to your accountant. Okay? The PPP, the EIDL, both available to apply now. Okay, so that's kind of a summary. There are a lot of things in these. These are the key business ones to be aware of and that have some timelines on them. Okay? Unemployment, I don't know if I mentioned, goes through September 6th. So another 6 months on those benefits. Okay, so taxes, small business, especially if you're a Schedule C and haven't applied yet, even if you're an S-Corp, you have till the 15th. Some of the most claimed benefits and that apply to small business. When we work with new small businesses, these yield big time dollars in tax deductions and money back. So mileage. I know we didn't go a lot of places last year, but especially if you're an independent contractor or now working from home and having to do different types of travel, make sure you understand what can be deductible. There's opportunities for personal and medical driving as well as business. And for last year, that's 58.5%. I believe this year is 56. But you know, I have construction workers and contractors that come to me who have driven 20,000 miles. Well, that's a $10,000 tax deduction, right? So mileage is huge. If you're growing, you're in the S-Corp, you're buying vehicles, there's a difference between mileage and taking those costs. So make sure you understand it and make sure you take advantage of it, okay? As a sole proprietor, you can take that on your Schedule C, on your individual tax return. Home office deduction. So this has always been available. There seems to be people afraid of it, but it is an absolutely legit business expense, whether you're a sole prop, an S-Corp, and this year's unique in that we had to go remote, and a lot of people went home to work. So this is something I encourage you to learn about as well. The portion of your home, I run a virtual business. The designated portion of my home is deductible to my S-Corp. If you're a sole prop, same thing. Whether you own your home or rent your home, the utilities, the portions of things that you pay on that property can be deducted at the percent of your usage. Okay, so a lot of people shy away from this because they're fearful. Unless you're coming up with, 99% of your home as a business deduction, this is very legit, and I absolutely recommend that you take advantage of it. Keep your utility bills, keep your expenses, and can easily utilize that as a deduction. Okay? If you're switching from a sole prop to an S Corp, which if you're on this group, there's a video from a while ago below. I recommend you look at it. It definitely breaks down the different tax options. But you can pay yourself tax-free dollars if set up appropriately for these types of things. Okay. Technology falls right in behind this. The use of your phone, the use of your internet, a lot of subscriptions. I have a lot of new people coming, asking about services, asking about things, and they're not counting in the 99-cent things, all these little subscriptions, all these online apps, all these phone pieces, the use of the phone, the use of the iPad, all the technology pieces that help us run are absolutely deductible to business. And I just read a statistic, 85% of small businesses miss this. I mean, that's huge. And especially in the world that we're going to, nothing's on paper anymore. It's all apps. So make sure we're tracking those. You know that little thing you're being charged for that you can't get rid of? It's probably deductible. So since you can't find Apple to get rid of it, at least deduct it, right? Because that's a challenge in itself. Travel and education, another big one, get asked a lot. I'm going to a conference. Is it tax deductible? The travel piece is huge. If you're doing business, those are absolutely deductible. Okay, another huge miss, people are afraid to use the travel deduction. I say get smart about it. Look what your business needs when you're planning your family vacations. Look at things that are going on in areas that are going to benefit your business, sales opportunities, conference opportunities. Those are deductible. Those are marketing. That's education to your business. Okay, so another one of the most underclaimed tax pieces. Accounting fees, a lot of people miss those. The cost to have an accountant or pay your tax preparer, that $400, $1,200, whatever dollar bill you have to pay, that's tax deductible. Subscriptions are last, and that kind of ties into the technology. So there's a lot of tax things to take into consideration, especially with what we just went over with the things going on here. So especially if you're small businesses, taxes should be strategic. And take a minute, learn the federal regulations, the information that's coming, and how to best utilize these programs for your tax benefit. But in addition to that, those things we just went through, since you're waiting to file anyway, or possibly going to have to amend if you have that unemployment piece, make sure you've taken advantage of these things. Good record keeping can yield you most of this. That's the other thing, and we'll chat about this a little next week, but just by simply recording, getting a QuickBooks or a good bookkeeping everyday system going, you'll catch more deductions than you ever knew that you had. So, especially when we're starting out and we're sole props. So, yes, ma'am.
Just on a side note,
Yeah.
as businesses are starting to rebuild,
Yes.
there are tax credits available for the people that you hire. For example, the work opportunity tax credit is
Yes.
something that we can look at if people are interested. If people fall into targeted groups, you can receive a tax credit for hiring.
So, Aaliyah is pointing out, we're going to be in post-pandemic soon. And we're really going to touch next week on a lot of what's happening now in 2020 now, but what's coming up. And so in alignment with these programs we're talking about, if you're taking, you've taken advantage of the unemployment and all these things to help staff, but many of us are ramping up, and there are tax credits, there are opportunities to help you hire, to help get that back. Work opportunity tax credits, there are some targeted, especially if you're in low income areas, women, minority owned, these types of things. There are a lot of targeted monies that are going to be coming. And what Aaliyah's pointing out is specifically in the way of getting workforce back, labor back, there's going to be opportunities. Okay, so if you're trying to get back, again, we've just talked about a few really great opportunities to do that, but get strategic about hiring back. It costs money to have labor. And one of the key ways to get our economy back is getting the workers back. And so there's a lot of that included in these plans. Yes, Aaliyah?
Justin has joined us.
Well, hello, Justin. How are we doing, sir? Good to see you. It looks like he applied. Such an easy process, the PPP, and we have just a few minutes here. I do want to recap that one again. Many of the things we're talking about, they're happening today as we speak. It's going through the process, but the PPP is live and active. That is, the CARES Act is rocking, and it's through March 31st that you can get PPP funds. So if you have not got it, stop and ask yourself, why? Okay, this isn't over. Prices are going to go up, and even if you feel safe today, you need to think strategically about your business. And if you haven't got PPP, it's time to go get it. Okay, if you're an independent contractor and you haven't got it, go get it. You have an opportunity the rest of us don't have, and take it. If you haven't noticed, small business, us little guys, we make up this world of business. It is so important. We are so crucial to our economy. If you didn't know that about yourself before, I hope you're feeling that. The hospitality industry, us small businesses, we are so vital to our economy. And there's money here. There's money set aside for this already. There's actually more money for PPP put in, is there not? I believe they've added additional funds. So we haven't even exhausted the last round of PPP funds, and there's additional funding to this, okay? Which tells me they may extend it, but nonetheless, we are at the height of the benefits of this program, so now is the time to apply. Again, as of today, Union, Westgate, Cornhusker, I know Union for sure. The other two, I've spoken with everybody in the past couple days. By today, they should have the new applications going. Okay, it takes seconds to apply. If you haven't got your forgiveness, another thing, go ahead and get that. You have 10 months after your 24 weeks, but it's tax time. It feels so good. I got my forgiveness. I had a little happy dance. I knew it was going to be forgiving, but there's something about like a little gift when you get that piece of paper that says you don't have to pay it back. So even though you have time, and most people have until the summer to go get forgiveness, now's the time to do it. And if you're getting second round, you might as well get it. Get those funds exhausted and get that one out of your way. Okay.
So just to kind of give everyone an idea, the additional amount going to PPP with American Rescue Plan is $7.25 billion.
$7.25 billion additional PPP funds. Okay, it was already a how many billion and has much left.
Yeah, the total, that brings the total for PPP to $813.7 billion.
Wow, brings the total to $813 billion. Now, unfortunately, a lot of big guys got it in the past, but where we are today, yes, Justin, the second round ends on March 31st as of right now. Just seeing your number come, your message. There is a lot of talk about the PPP plan being extended 60 more days. But that is not anything now. That's just all of the CPAs and accountants are hounding government right now. But yes, a lot of money in that program. And I said this before, but the zombies haven't even came yet. And you can chuckle about that, but vaccines are coming. I know things are starting to open. I'm very hopeful. I always knew the spring would come, but this is business and there's a lot of curveballs, and it doesn't hurt to have that money for yourself, even if you want to give it back. You can accept it, and you have, what is it, 2 weeks or 4 weeks? I don't know if they changed that, but you can give it back in the first couple weeks, or you can pay it back. Okay? So, might as well. The money's there. Okay? Any other questions, points that I missed, ladies? Again, we are at Echo Bell Solutions, Lincoln CFO on the go. We're just trying today to bring you all of the key points that are taking place as we speak in the two main relief bills that are available and how that applies to your 2020 taxes. Okay? If you have questions, please reach out to us. We are going to do this again next week. Our plan next week was to talk about 2021 taxes. And there are definitely some things in these plans that apply to 2021, but that being said, this is moving quick. And so we are going to come next week with the most up-to-date information with everything that's happening, and just keep you going. March, the timing of this series is phenomenal because it's going to move quick here over the next weeks. Okay, and with tax season lining here, which there is talk of, I'm hearing till June potentially. There's a lot of people asking to bump out tax season, but I do feel confident that within March we're going to get some of the information we need to still be able to apply on time, or to file our returns on time and take advantage of these things. Okay, PPP, unemployment, employee retention, EDIL, stimulus, state grants, charity, tax deductions. Okay, share this video, watch it again, call us if you have questions. If you qualify for any of these things and you're not sure, let us know. We have the connections, we have the knowledge, and happy to pick up the phone and help the small businesses in this community.
I also just posted in
Okay.
the comments link to our Calendly.
Perfect.
So if you want to sit down and talk.
Excellent. A link just went into the comments below. If you want to chat, set up a 15-minute call with me. Happy to get on the phone, talk about you specifically. I'll tell you, I've spoke with 3 sole props and 1 business structure this week. The lowest amount they walked away with was $13,000 in PPP that they had no idea that they could get. And that's the lowest amount. And that just happened by picking up the phone and having a conversation about how these things apply to you. Okay? So it's worth it. 13 grand for 15 minutes? Talk to me? Hey, that's better than the Geico ad, man. I think we got ourselves a new marketing slogan. Well, I appreciate all of you. Stay posted. We'll get some more posts on this week as they happen, but plan on tuning in next week, and we will keep you up to date with all of the things as a small business owner that you can take advantage of and run with. Might as well. This is not ending, guys. So, okay? Thank you for your time. Echo Bell, Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln's CFO on the go. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.